ideas. Okay, this week's Parsha. There's so much. We all know the story of Noah. We've been there. It's like almost been there, done that. And yet every single year we have to face it again. Always new questions, right? Always new insights that we have to try to discover. The basic storyline is, just to catch us up, basically, as we know that the earth was involved in destructive way, very promiscuous, right? That wasn't actually the straw that broke the camel's back. Actually, it was robbery. Would you believe it? Interesting word. Hamas, we might be familiar with, called robbery. And you'll see it later on, that word again. But basically, it was robbery. That we're done. Okay? So obviously God had to have a plan, and he shifted the way that he runs the world, and basically, thank God, Noah, who was, as the Parsha begins, was the Ish Tzadik Haya, Tamim Haya B'dorosav. He was a whole man in his generation. It's interesting how we always have to be faced with Noah before we meet Abraham. As we always have to understand, there are two types of tzaddikim, right? There's the type of tzaddik, or tzaddikah, which basically is very much attuned to doing the right things all the time, completely, 100%, connected 100%, attached 100%, involved in praying, learning, studying, but not necessarily caring about what other people are doing, right? That's tzaddik number 2. The righteous person number 2 is a person who, it's not just enough for what I do, right? But I got to get other people to do the right thing. That's a challenge, especially in our generation, wouldn't you say, right? So many challenges, especially where I was raised, right? California was, I do what I do, you do what you do, right? Even though maybe what I do happens to be something which is not necessarily correct. This is good for me, and you do what you do, right? So, but of course, we have the two types of righteous people, Noach being one. He was an Ish Tzadik, Haya B'dorotav. And we have righteous person number 2, which is Avram Avinu, who was never satisfied until the entire world was converted to worshiping, to attaching themselves to the one God. He wasn't satisfied until he'd reach people and touch people's hearts and elevate them to do good deeds as well. It wasn't good that just I'm a righteous guy and the entire generation is wicked. So Noach, obviously, bizarre as it is, who he comes from Hevel, Noach, and he actually, who is his reincarnation? Do you know who he reincarnated into? Yes, Torah believes in reincarnation.
I'm going with Moses.
Moses.
But I think I heard you say that.
Moshe Rabbeinu. That's right. It was an earlier class. That was in Sunday mornings. Moshe Rabbeinu. Noah, from Noah to Moshe. Interesting, huh?
Yeah.
How do you figure that? So here's Noah. And we all know the storyline. God's going to flood the world. You got to build an ark. You got to go in the ark, you and your family, right? And we know the details of the ark. You have to have 3 stories in the ark. We're going to get into a little bit of the details later. And basically, you're going to be in that ark, you and all the animals, and you're going to survive while I'm going to flush the entire world out, except for the fish. The fish lived.
What do they call it? Tahash? Even Tahash? Did the Tahash get on the ark too, or did they just pop in?
Who?
What is it called? The Tahash?
Tahash skin.
Yeah.
Tahash, all the animals. That survived. That was fine. We needed it for a later purpose. We didn't care if it became extinct. We don't care if it became extinct, okay? They were for a purpose. They served their purpose. They're very happy, okay? They come back into who knows what. We don't know. It would be interesting to find out. But Noach, of course, what happened was after the entire incident, which he's in for about who knows how long. Does anybody know how long he was in that ark for with the animals? It wasn't 40 days and 40 nights, right? It was about a year, okay? Because, the waters had to subside. Yeah, it rained for 40 days, 40 nights, but then, there's no land. It took a while till the ark disembarked, until the ark got stuck on Mount Ararat. Right? And then you don't even know where there's land. Okay, we're stuck. We're not moving. But we don't know where there's land anywhere.
Sounds a lot like Houston.
Yeah, and then finally, only after almost a year, I believe about a year, or close to it, did they get out. And then, of course, Noach, he sacrifices the tahor animals, and he makes a prayer. And the whole world is destroyed, and he makes the prayer, and does everybody know what God's reaction is after he makes this sacrifice and a prayer? Don't do this anymore. What does God say?
Here's a rainbow.
Moron. You're praying now for the generation. All the years, it was 120 years, he was building that ark. From the planting of the seeds of the trees. He didn't go to Home Depot and buy the ready-made lumber, okay? It wasn't like Amazon deliver wood, okay? It was he planted the trees, grew the trees, cut the trees, made the ark. Everybody's seeing, and he's telling people there's going to be a flood, but he never prayed for the generation. Moshe Rabbeinu does the flip of that because he's the reincarnation. Mesiras Nefesh. No, first of all, what made Noach to even pray that at the end? That was the bizarre thing. Okay? Noach, of course, goes into the ark, and do you know how busy he was? What do you think? He was like playing video games? Waiting. Open the window. Still raining. Right? Or maybe we'll send the bird out to see if there's dry land. Right? He was busy feeding the animals until he was coughing blood. The Midrash says. He was so busy, hardly any sleep, till he was coughing blood. And then the Midrash brings once he was late to bring to the lion his ration. I believe it was date rations. Okay? Everybody ate dates. Even the lion was happy with dates. Okay? I don't know if there was almonds inside the dates. Even Og Melech HaBashan, who was outside the ark, he couldn't fit in this giant. He had to hang around the ark. Right, with his little umbrella, I guess, and his stool. Don't ask me how. It doesn't. Things don't compute. A lot of things don't compute. It's all miraculous. The whole thing was miraculous. But of course, while he's busy feeding the animals constantly, he was late to bring to the lion. The lion smacked him, and he was lame for the rest of his life because the lion smacked him. He said, "You're late." Okay. Only after that was he so busy in the act of giving did it compute to be the type of person to be, oh, please, Hashem, don't bring this to the world anymore. Okay? Great, the door's open. Awesome. All right, so then Moshe Rabbeinu, who then comes back, and then, of course, Moshe Rabbeinu, Mesiras Nefesh. Do you know what Mesiras Nefesh means? Self-sacrifice. He prays for the generation. God, do not just... God's willing, okay, we'll just wipe out the Jewish people and we'll start from you, a new nation, right? Couple of times it happened. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, Mecheni na misifrecha, erase me from your book. You cannot destroy them. So he's the flip side. You understand? He's right away, Avram Avinu also. He prayed for Sodom, prayed for the other people, right? Interesting, I'm going to fast forward you because I don't know if I'm going to be giving you a class in the next, who knows, few weeks. Because I mentioned the word Hamas. Yeah, it's a great word, right? It means robbery. And now if you go fast forward, when Avram Avinu was married with Sarah for many, many years, and finally Sarah wasn't having any kids. And finally Sarah says, well, why don't you take Hagar, and through my sacrifice, I'm sharing you, right? You will give birth through Hagar, right? And it will be as if I will give birth, right? So take Hagar and have children through Hagar. And instantly Hagar is pregnant right away. Right? And Sarah's like scratching her head going, okay. And she goes to Avram and her first words were, Chamasi alecha. I got a grievance with you. Literally they translate, I got a grievance. All these years you were praying for yourself to have a kid. You weren't praying for me to have a kid. May God judge between you and me. Okay, a lot of things you learn in that simple conversation. Okay? But the interesting thing, that first word that she says is Chamasi alecha. Well, wait a minute. What's the connection here? You see over here by the flood, the world was filled with Hamas. And we see over, they're probably going to zap me out, understand of Facebook because I'm mentioning Hamas too many times. But it means different. And we see by Sarah and her grievance with Avram Avinu, you were praying for yourself to have a kid, you weren't praying for me to have a kid. In other words, you got Hagar pregnant, very good. But where does that, and probably the answer should stick out to you obvious, about how does this connect with robbery? Why? This is the word for robbery, and here it's translated as grievance, but we know Hamas means robbery. How does over here with Sarah having a conversation with Avram say the word Chamasi alecha? I have a. So the answer is this, and this is very profound, and it's so deep, and you really have to take it to heart. It's because what she's saying, really, if you don't pray for someone else, you are stealing from them. That is called robbery. Because everybody can pray. Maybe you might not be able to help them, right? They're financial in need, or need of health issues, or whatever issues that somebody might need. But you experience them. Someone comes to you with an issue. You can pray for them. And if you don't, that's called robbery. It's very serious, isn't it? Very scary. Most people go, oh yeah, what's your name? Sarah Bat? Yeah. And they'll write it on a little piece of paper, and maybe a piece of paper will fall, who knows what, and in some scrapbook, and you'll be one with all the receipts in the bottom of your bag and who knows where. Right? It's known that the Bow Shem Tov, when they saw his siddur, that in his siddur along the margin, he would write names of people. This one for Parnasa, this one for health, this one for this one for that. The back of his siddur, in the margin, all over his siddur was written names. People that he prayed for all the time. So the idea really here is to open our hearts. When we experience people who are in need, we must always take it to heart and pray for those people. Okay? Otherwise it's called Hamas. It's robbery. Okay? Serious, but Baruch Hashem. We see Noah, one tzaddik, number one. He's doing right. He's whole. He's pure. But there's not that extending of outward. He's totally kosher. Totally amazing. Right? And then there's the other tzaddik, which is that Zohar speaks about the reward of this type of person and what this type of person is, who wants to reach out to other people, pray for other people, and help other people, and get other people on the right way. That's what we call the Kedushas Levi calls a Balichuhwa. We usually associate a Balichuhwa as somebody who wasn't religious, who comes religious, right? But a Balichuhwa is somebody who brings other people, who works on other people. We all have to be ambassadors. That's our job out here. We're in exile. Okay. We have the flood. Okay? And the big question always is, that we always have to get into, is, what is the relevance for this here and now? The Torah is not a history book. The Torah has to have its relevance for us in the here and now. Okay? Now I'm going to share with you an amazing text from the Zohar. And then we're going to understand about what is, in other words, we are Noach, and we have to make ourselves a teva. And the question is, what does that mean? Okay? So first I'm going to share with you this amazing passage in the Zohar. Okay? In Parsha Vayera. Okay? Here, let me pass this out. Here, you want to take these and pass them out? Yeah. that's starting on page 179. Okay. Now, I was going to bring the Hebrew, but of course my son is sick and la 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 la. Okay? But so everything happens Baruch Hashem. Now, this was written by Shimon Bar Yohai, right? Thousands of years ago. 2,000 plus years ago. Okay? It wasn't printed until we see actually in the 1200s. This is an amazing text. Maybe you have been exposed to it before, but we're going to read it. Some of it is very esoteric, but try to follow with me and we'll get what we get. Okay? Starting with 179 where it says Rabbi Yehuda said. Rabbi Yehuda said there on 179, so they have declared, but come and see the mystery that I have learned. When assembly of Israel was exiled from her realm, you see it on page 179, are you there?
Middle.
It should be right here in Rabbi Yehuda.
One line up, one paragraph up.
No, it's the last paragraph on 179.
Yeah.
Rabbi Yehuda said, it's the big writing. Ignore the little writing down here.
Okay.
Rabbi Yehuda said, so they have declared, but come and see the mystery that I have learned. When the assembly of Israel was exiled from her realm, letters of the holy name were separated. As it were, He was separated from Vav. You know, we have 4 names, 4 letters in God's name. Yud K, Vav K. Okay? We always will associate Vav with the realm of the infinite, just to let you know. And the letter He represents the holy divine presence, our experience or potential experience of the divine. Okay? So, in any case, what happened is, in terms of the exile, the destruction of the temple, we were cast out. That letter He was split from the Vav. You know, every time that we pray and we do mitzvahs, we say, L'shem yichud kudsha b'richu b'shchinte b'dhil yachid shem yud K b'vav K. We always want to connect the yud K with the vav K. We always want to make sure everything's connected. Okay? We have worlds above us, and we want to get the flow from those worlds. We need to connect. If the He is disconnected, so then the flow doesn't come. Since they separated, it is written, I was dumb, silent. Why? Because Vav departed from He, and voice disappeared. So speech was silenced. In other words, lack of connection. We're not getting the message. In the times of the temple, when the Shekhinah dwelled, there were prophets up and down the street. You had any question you want, you can go and ask a prophet. Should I marry this person? Should I do this business? Should I move over here? What should I do? And they would, like that. Okay? Instant answers. Now, no prophecy. Right? She, therefore, turn the page, lies in the dust. That means the Shekhinah, the holy divine presence, lies in the dust that entire day of He. The entire day of He. What does it mean, the entire day of He? He is the numerical value of 5. Here's where we get a little bizarro here. He, 5, represents, what is that? The 5th millennium. Okay? The 5th millennium, basically, as we know here, he calls it, the 5th millennium corresponds to 241 CE or 1239. In other words, all the way up until 1239, as we know in our creation, and the way we are counting history, we have 6,000 years of history until we get to the Great Shabbat. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 5th millennium, and then we're in the 6th millennium, waiting just for a few more 100 years until, right, I think it's 230, I believe, right? We're in 80, no, 220. 220 years until we reach the 7th millennium. Isn't that exciting? Only 220 more years to go. Actually, no. We're going to see. Okay. The idea here is, it's interesting. She lies in the dust in the entire 5th millennium. That means everything leading up until 1239. Okay, or 1240. That's what he says in the note 496. Although she went into exile before the beginning of the 6th millennium, the mystery of He, when the 6th millennium arrives, the mystery of, which represents the mystery of Vav, of Yud K Vav K, an interesting idea here. Vav will raise He Vav will take the Hey, that last letter of the tetragrammaton, at 6 times 10, that's 60. Okay? So here he's adding up and he's calculating the years here. And the years actually end up being 1299. Okay? Interestingly enough, 1299, he brings in the note here, which begins, it's the beginning of the 6th millennium. This prediction of the beginning of the redemption points to a date soon after the appearance of the Zohar. Okay? The Zohar began to come out. Don't forget, the book of the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yohai says, nobody else makes a claim. With this book, the children of Israel go out of exile. With this book, the children of Israel go out of exile. So it wasn't printed, it wasn't out into the public until this year, or soon after. Okay, interesting how he notes it. And don't forget, this book was written from Shimon Bar Yohai according to most of the Mekubalim. There were some scholars who say, no, it was from Moshe de Leon in the 1200s. But most of all of the Mekubalim, the Ari, right, the Bow Shem Tov, all of the Hasidic masters say, it's totally Shimon Bar Yohai. Okay? So Vav, the Vav millennium, will raise Hey at 6 times 10, that's 60. Then, consummation of Vav, ascending to 10, descending to 5. In other words, it goes up, it gets wisdom, it goes down to 5, and it's going to elevate. It's a process of elevation, fulfilled by 10, 6 times, becoming 60, to raise from the dust. That's just understanding how certain things are going to be start to elevated. Every 60 years of that 6th millennium, the Hey, the last letter Hey, the Shechina in the dust, is invigorated, scaling to its levels, its rungs. In the 600th year of the 6th, springs of wisdom will open above, springs of wisdom below, and the world will prepare to enter the 7th. Just like a person preparing on the 6th day, as the sun is about to set, to enter the Shabbat. Okay? So this is where this is amazing prediction that is in the Sefer HaZohar, that in the 6th millennium, in the 600th year of the 6th millennium, corresponds to 1839. 1839, basically the Zohar is saying, way in the future, the year 1839, there's going to be a flood. It's not going to be a flood of water. Okay? It's going to be a different kind of flood. There's going to be a flood, waters from below, just like the flood that is recorded here. The flood that happened here wasn't just rain for 40 days, 40 nights, right? It was also the Tahom, the bottoms were opened up and it came up. It's like somebody took the plugs out, right? And the waters came from below and the waters came from above. He's saying the same thing. He's predicting in the future, from the year 1839, it's going to be a flood from below and there's going to be from above. What kind of flood? Okay? And he says it. Springs of wisdom. Floods of wisdom. They actually do say around this time, I really should have Googled it. Please forgive me. Okay? This is when the Industrial Revolution started. 1839. People started to industrialize things. Certain wisdom came into people's mind. Science started to really, it's probably developed a little bit before, but not in a great way, and then started this flood from the waters from below, which is science, and from above also, which means the supernal wisdom, the wisdom of the Kabbalah, then started to disseminate also. Two wisdoms which will eventually meet. The wisdom of science meets the wisdom of the Torah, of the Kabbalah, of the mysticism. Okay? But the idea here is, and here's how do you remember this? How do we know this? And where does it come from? Where is it brought from? So it says here, your mnemonic, means memory device. In the 600th year of Noah's life, all the springs of the great abyss burst, and the sluices of heaven were opened. Okay? So the idea really is that we learn it from the verse about the 600th year of Noah's life, because it's 600. It's a very significant number. And that's where Shimon Bar Yochai goes. 600, 6th millennium, in the middle of the 60 years of the 6th millennium, then we're going to have this flood. Okay? So now we have an idea here. Shimon Bar Yohai predicts in the future a flood of wisdom. And boy, aren't we flooded now. Excuse me. Okay? Right? Now we have to understand and go into something really dynamic, because all of the masters say the whole flood of Noah, the whole Torah, has to have its relevance for us in the here and now. What is that relevance? Okay? So there's many ideas. And the idea that I always can express, but sometimes I'm shooting too high, is from the words that we have in the Parsha when he's telling Hashem is telling Noah, Moshe, right? Where he says, Sohar Ta'aseh Lateva. Okay? A window shall you make for the ark. Okay? Usually most people that understand that as a window, a literal window. That's what Rashi says. Actually, Rashi has two understandings. One is a window. You got to get some light. Right? It's dark in there. It's a box. Can you imagine a box? All right? With no windows? And he's just saying one window. Right? And some people say there was a shiny stone, a certain stone that has illumination to it. Okay? So the idea here is the Bow Shem Tov, of course, wants to take this in the sense of where's the relevance for us here now. And when he says, Sohar Taseh La Teva, well, the word Teva actually means something else in Hebrew. Do you know what does Teva mean in Hebrew? A box, but also word. That's Teva. Teva, Tetvet Ayin is Teva. Teva means word. Teva means word. So what is the Baal Shem Tov saying? Make the word to shine. What word? Okay? So he goes to saying every single time that you're opening Torah and learning Torah and looking at the Hebrew words, you have to make them to shine. Makzeh? How do we do such a thing, right? Okay? It's a hard practice. It's a real kung fu, okay? You have to Ramish practice and picturing in your mind. Actually, you can really do it if you develop your own practice. To get the words to shine, each letter shines, and each letter combines with a word to make a whole unit, and have that shine in your mind's eye to such a degree. What I use is for sometimes that helps me. If I think of a doorway, and that doorway basically sealed, and on the other side of that door is infinite light that is very, very bright, too bright for me, but there's a keyhole, like the skeleton key. Now imagine a keyhole that's shaped like a letter, shaped like a letter bait. Bait is easier to picture than olive. And it's shaped like a bait, but behind that door shines infinite light. So you can picture shining in that keyhole is the letter bait. That's one letter. And then you can do the same thing with a resh, with a vav and a chaf. Baruch. Like my father-in-law said, just start with the word. Start with the word Baruch. And then work on the next word. Okay? Now, it's an unbelievable technique. This is the Baal Shem Tov's technique of prayer. I'm not going to go into it now, but I'm just going to give you an idea, because we're going to start to other forms of Tevat Noach, of the Ark of Noah. So the Ark of Noah, according to the Baal Shem Tov, means sometimes, the influences are unbelievable out there. We are bombarded. There is a flood. And it's a flood of wisdom, because look what, you can zap in your phone and you can know what's going on in China in a second. Okay? It's an unbelievable flood that a person is exposed to. How do you escape that? Because it's giving you all these ideas, and all these ideas, and you get confused, like being in flood waters. What's going to help you to get the thought straight is to do this meditative technique in your prayer and in your Torah study, to imagine the words shining. And when the words shine, you access another place of information and energy that comes through the letters, through the infinite light that is shining through those letters. Okay? It's a technique, but I need to expose it to you. I cannot hold back. Okay? Because It's an unbelievable technique. I've been practicing it for years, and I cannot even describe the words of the ideas that come to you if you be involved even in a few words in picturing the letters shining bright. But that is another form of Tevat Noach to help you get your thoughts straight and shut out the influences of the world. It's a way for you to directly communicate your soul to God. Okay? Now, the Netziv Shalom brings other forms, 3 actually, other forms of the Ark of Noah in our day. Okay? The Zohar he actually brings, the first thing that he brings, thank God, Baruch Hashem, he brings, okay, Noach, that is shaykh for each and every person, as it brings in the Zohar. This is in the Zohar, Tikkun Zohar, Nun Dalet Amud Beit. Shenoach merumaz al Shabbat Kodesh. Shabbat. Tevat Noach is Shabbat. How can you imagine such a thing? Oh, now we can definitely imagine how Shabbat is the Ark of Noah. No cell phones. No computers. No, none of that stuff. Right? There's none of that exposure to the outside. Baruch Hashem, we have Shabbat. Right? Especially nowadays. It's an amazing, ingenious invention. You have teens who are addicted to cell phones, and they have something in New York called texting. Mutter texting on Shabbat or something like that. I don't know where or what. I don't know who, how, what. It's not a Shabbosdik activity, okay? But Shabbat Kodesh is said to be our ark, okay? Because in this day, the upper rests, the upper worlds, the cosmic realms rest, and the lower realms rest, okay? Rest. Ubebeit Avraham Isa b'shem Arav HaKadosh Meluvlin al Mamar HaKatuv Enoch Matzah Chen B'nei Hashem. And it brings down this verse, we all know the verse, that Noach found favor in the eyes of God. That before, right, et kol averot hachamurot, did write all of this unbelievable strict stringencies, all of those strong sins that were happening in that generation, that they were so evil and the earth was being destroyed, right? And afterwards it writes, Noach finds favor in the eyes of God. Don't forget the word Noach and you split the word Chen. You know, you just flip the word Noach and Chen. It's the same word. Which is according to the Zohar HaKodesh that Noach is Shabbat, because they had all of the destruction and then Noach. So therefore we know that like the 6 days of the week, and then you have Noach. Okay? By doing that and having the Shabbat and observing the Shabbat, so then we find favor in God's eyes. Okay? Through the Shabbat Kodesh, that in the Shabbat Kocho Shel Yehudi, that he can obviously cast off himself all of those matters, right? That anybody who's shomer Shabbat, anybody who keeps the Shabbat according to its law, even if he did, this is the phrase that maybe many of you are familiar with, even if he did avodah zorah like the door of Enosh, he's forgiven. It forgives sins. It's like soap, but it's not like soap you buy at Woolworths. Walmart. It's not like soap you buy at Walmart. Shabbosdik soap is a completely different soap. Okay. Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach, he explained an amazing thing. And I have never found it in any text, and I'm still looking. It was always an amazing thing that when we welcome the Holy Shabbat, and there's the whole song that we sing of L'chadodi Likrat Kala, right? Welcome my beloved to greet the bride, and everybody's standing up and singing. And then at the last stanza, actually, I think at the Sfardim, the entire I think they turn around the entire time. I'm not sure. The Ashkenaz or the Chabad, the last stanza they turn around and then they bow 3 times. Yeah. Okay? Boi Kala, Shabbos Malkata. Okay? You're supposed to do it quiet. The last one. right? You have to do the 3 times. Boi kala, right? And we bow 3 times. And what's with that? I always was wondering, how? What is that? What is that? Why are we bowing? Turning, they basically understand, in a simple way that, if you're at a wedding and there's a wedding happening, when the bride is coming in, everybody turns to greet the bride coming from the back door. Simple. Bowing? Okay? So, the Shekhinah is coming. But the idea really that Shlomo Carlebach said, and his Yortzeit is coming very soon, if someone knows, find it, please let me know, was we bow because the Holy Shabbos is coming and we're letting go of all of our weekday activity and all of the schmutz that we got into. You know what schmutz means? Everybody know what schmutz? Dirt. All of the schmutz, we bow down because the Holy Shabbos, we give it all up to the Ein Sof, to the infinite. To the infinite is going to wash all of that schmutz away. We bow down and the Holy Shabbat and the Holy Shekhinah, the Ein Sof, cleanses away all of that schmutz that we picked up during the weekday. Okay? So that's Shabbat. That's one. That's one Tevat Noach. Okay? The other Tevat Noach, okay, is the Torah Hat Kadosha, our holy Torah. The Torah itself is Tevat Noach. Okay? That after God gave the Torah, there is a certain koach of shmirah, protection, okay, for a Jew. Once the Torah was given, the Jew has a certain protection. Like what our rabbis have say of blessed memory, I created the evil inclination, and I've created the Torah as its spice, tavlin. It's in a great Lashon. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. It never did. And I don't even think I have it to this day. Really. I'm going to give my little knetch about it, what I heard, but I'm still trying to get it real. Okay? I created the evil inclination. I created the Torah as its spice. Shouldn't it be remedy? I created the evil inclination, the bad boy, the influence. And I created the Torah as the remedy, the trufah. Why tavlin? Why spice? So I heard from Rabbi Rausch many years ago. He says, you need the evil inclination. Did you know that? Right? When they wanted to destroy the evil inclination for promiscuity, right? The farmers started to come to the Sanhedrin and going, our chickens are not laying eggs, right? And no one's having babies. The world cannot exist. So the rabbis who actually had captured the evil inclination for promiscuity and could kill it, they held it for a few days to see what would happen, and then they saw we cannot kill it. So they punctured its eye, weakened it a little bit, but they cannot kill it. The evil inclination is necessary for the world. You cannot live without it. It is all of our motivation and all of our drive. If you just go look, the most amazing Parsha, last week's Parsha, after Cain kills Abel, right? And Cain gets whatever he gets, and he's got the mark, and he's wandering, but he has kids, and you see all of his kids, all the creativity of existence comes from Cain's kids. They build cities, they build instruments, they got music, we got weapons, we got tools. All of a sudden, tremendous amounts of creativity come from Cain. Okay? The Cain, they say, actually came from the Zuhamata Nachash. That the shmutz, once again, we're back to that word, shmutz of the Nachash that he cast into Chava. Actually, the language is not to be understood literally, that the Nachash, the serpent, lived with Chava. Okay, but it's not literal lived with Chava. Okay, people think that Nachash was that influence. Boom! That's that kind of influence. It stays with us, you know. My rabbi said, and he was so right. He was so right. Okay, he says, movies, once you watch them, they never get out of your head, right? and I don't know if so he was trying to tell all the Balichuhwa students, they never get out of here. Once they get in, they don't get out, right? I'm still like, I've got the theme song from Green Acres sometimes going on in my head. Yeah, I can sing the whole thing to you, word for word. I was actually trying to, don't ask, okay? Gilligan's Island, thank God, I lost a lot of, okay? But if you wake me up at 3 and you want me to hum, the Get Smart Nigun, right? I can do it at 3 a.m., no question, okay? They don't get out of your head. So thank God, so what does it mean by the spice? So the spice, you need the cholent. You got to put your meat, your potatoes in your pot. You're cooking your pot. But if there's no salt or spices, it is bland. It is almost useless. No one's going to want seconds on that stew. Okay? They'll taste it and they'll go, they're starving, okay, they'll eat, but they don't want to stick. What gives everything its flavor that you can eat it? You need the Torah to give the Yetzer Hara its flavor. It's amazing, isn't it? Because something, we all have an evil inclination, but you have to channel it. Yeah, it has to be channeled. The impulses and every single thing has to be channeled in the right area. They say if a guy has like a murderous temperament, right? They say, oh, go be a shochet. Right? He wants to murder people. Or want to murder sometime. Go be a shoichet and kill the goats and the sheep and the chickens and gegazant. So he gets out his evil inclination in a creative way. You understand? Right? People who have inclinations channel it for good. Right? It's a big problem. Why? By the way, and I've heard my father-in-law said it years ago. I heard Y.Y. Jacobson say it, and many other people have said it. I think even Yamima Mizrahi, who's coming here at the end of January. So exciting.
Mizrahi's gone.
I'm going to put on a shaitel and crash that class. So I got to be here. Okay. Right? I think the end of January, yeah. It's finally, Devorah got the info. Finally made the connection, right? Right? Even she's saying the Balichuhwa movement should never have joined the Frum movement when people started to be Balichuhwa, right? So they never should have joined the Frum. They should have made their own communities. Because what happened is kind of strange. It's bizarre to you, isn't it? Right? It's because we see what the Frum, a lot of the Frum, I can't say all, but a lot of what the Frum did. When the guy who is an unbelievable violinist, and he goes and he takes his trip to Jerusalem, and he goes to Aish, or whatever those yeshivas, and he wants to become religious and learn and study all day. They say, throw away your violin. Yeah. You got to learn Talmud all day. Yeah. And that's it. Your violin is worthless. All your skills are worthless. That's right. That's a big no-no. Of course, but did they do that? No. I know guys who got totally stifled. All their creativity, all their artists, all their music, all their beauty. There's something that they were needed to bring. They needed to bring it from out there. They needed to bring it from their backgrounds. They needed to come in. Yes, I'm shomer mitzvahs, but I'm a violinist. I'm shomer mitzvahs. Not throw it away, God forbid. That's why it was a huge mistake. They should have made their own communities, and now they're starting to. We're going to make our own community. Because we need to know what to do. We need Shulchan Aruch. We need to know. Absolutely. 100%. But don't tell us that we got to throw away all our creative energy because this is the way to go now. That's not going to work. Can people actually get breakdowns? Okay? In any case, the Torah HaKadosha, I can't even say it right. I created the Yetzer Hara, I created the Torah as its spice. Okay? So, you need your Yetzer Hara, but the Torah is supposed to help you to channel it, to do it right, to make it that it's you're an edible dish. Okay? We want to be an edible dish. You need the Torah, and it protects. Salt is a very huge preservative. Okay? So, the idea here is that the Torah has a force of protection from the destruction of the flood. Okay? Aval Ezek Torah tzarich lamar ba'osa ofen shalachet. It has to be in the person usually, if he did a certain sin, he has to go and learn the Torah that comprised with that sin, because the Torah will bring him out of that. Okay. Also, he brings down the whole fact that the ark had lower levels, secondary levels, and third levels. He actually brings that down, right? Was that there's two different levels of a person's life. Actually, that's what it corresponds to. In other words, you look at the Ark of Noah and you think it has 3 levels. He's telling you something different in our psyche. That there's 3 differences. There's a time where the person's, young, the youth, the middle-aged, and then there's the elder, right? And each one of those tekufa, a person has a different Yetzer Hara, right? So therefore, the Torah is going to be the resolution, the spice for each one of those, in order to temper his evil inclination, in order to help him to channel it better, right? Midlife crisis, old age. Usually people want more kavod in their old age. When they're young, they usually run after physical desires, but as they get older, they want recognition, right? So that's an evil inclination, right? Or they want money, right? That's an evil inclination, right? So the Torah, thank God, tempers it. Now the third one, so he brings down 3. We had 4 so far total. I brought down 4. One was the word itself becomes our Ark of Noah. Focus on the word, meditate on the word, picture Baruch shining. Baruch, then you go to Atah, then you go to Hashem. Whatever it is, pick a blessing, focus on it, try to picture it. That is your Ark of Noah, because it says make the word to shine. The second one we learned was Shabbat Kodesh. That's the Ark in our days. The third one we learned, was the Torah. The Torah is our Ark. The fourth one is a bizarre. I thought he was going to go somewhere else, but of course, thank God I found it. He says, when there is, he brings from the Toldos Yaakov Yosef, when there is a gathering of qualitative people, Yireh Shemayim, right? Shechibur Yireh Hashem gam yachad be'achdus hu bechina tevat Noach. When you have a gathering of like minds, of a higher nature, not evil. Okay? It's not, I want to say, right? It's not Clinton and Soros. Okay? When they get together, it's bad news. Okay? But let's say if you higher level minds, Yireh Shemayim, quality. Okay? He calls it Tchunot Tova. Tchunot Tova is good quality. You get good quality people getting together, even if they're not doing anything. Just by the fact that they join, they become the Ark of Noah. Okay? So he brings down an interesting idea. Okay? And this is a protection. That actually is a protection. It's amazing. It's maybe why we always go to on Rosh Hashanah. We always got a Barov Hamadaris Melech. We say, more Jewish people, that's the glory of the King. But also, when we connect to the community of Israel, right? It gives us a certain protection. Okay? It protects the Jew from all evil in all situations. And he wants to clarify it, and he brings from the fact of the generation of the flood. When they gather together, actually he says a general statement. When gathered together people of a good quality, it's born, nolad, me'achadusam dvarim tovim. There's definitely going to be something born from it. They're definitely going to give birth. Something will come out from it. We don't know. You might not see it. But maybe it's not a discussion how to fix the potholes on West Belfort. Okay? But something good comes out of any connection of a group of people that are on a good quality level. Okay? Even if they don't do anything. The essence of their just joining of these people, magvira et koach hatov, it makes greater the force of good. Now I have an explanation of that, because you're thinking thoughts, and you're connecting, and when you connect and you're thinking thoughts, so then every thought creates a malach, an angel. That's a force. So when you have more people creating the same force, having a discussion of something of a higher nature, that creates a greater force. Definitely something will be born of it, even though you might not see it. Okay? And the opposite, when bad people get together, right? That will give birth to something evil, something bad. And that's what happened with the Dora Flaga. God saw, he knows what really is in their hearts. The door of flood, which was at the end of this week's Parsha, the whole Tower of Babel. They got together. They almost got away with it. They almost got away with it because they had such peace among themselves. That peace was like God's name itself. They were going to make it. You know what the Ishbitzer says? I told you. It's a rocket ship because it's really weird. If you're going to make a tower that's going to go to the heavens, why are you going into a valley to make a tower? You go to the highest mountain and start making a tower. Why not? You already got room. You go to a valley and make a tower? That ain't making sense. So he wanted to say it was a ship. Okay? So, because they wanted to control the weather, they had to do weather control. Because we didn't want no more floods. Because we want to do what we want to do. We want to play. Right? And we want God bugging us in our play. So we're going to move up there, we're going to control, and that's where the monkeys came from, right? Because some guys were going to go and wage war with God, so he made them monkeys. Okay? That's where monkeys came from. Monkeys, we didn't come from monkeys, God forbid. Monkeys came from man. I think Rabbi Kiva Tat say that, right? Straight out, right? So, in any case, the idea here is, so the Tower of the flood, the Tower of the dispersal, of course, they almost got away with it because of their level of shalom. But of course, God knew what was in their heart. Come on, man. They're up to no good. So he had to disperse them, right? It was really amazing because you have to know, if a brick would fall, they would mourn for 7 days. If a brick would fall, if a person would fall, pass me another hammer. But if a brick would fall, they would mourn for 7 days. Crazy. What dementia, right? Okay, but lever, who knows, guy? There's other stories, there's lots of other Torah. Okay, so let's go over. The Ark of Noah in our day. We saw Rabbi Shimon Bar Yohai predicts that in the 1800s there will be a flood, and we do see the flood. We're in the middle of the flood. A flood of wisdom. The wisdom from above is the wisdom of the Kabbalah. Baruch Hashem, people are much more attuned to spirituality these days. Much more attuned to have the connection with God, a deep connection, a sincere connection. And there's all this information that is available to us from the satellites, right? You can contact any rabbi, the unbelievable shiurim, in all the internet. It's unbelievable. Any app, right? So much Torah anytime. You got, YU Torah, right? So many.
But there's a lot of other stuff on there.
Yeah, well, that's why it's Klipas Noga. You got to watch out. Then, of course, the flood from above, which is the science and how science is developing. Unbelievable things. The things that we're seeing are just absolutely incredible. And everybody can know. Everybody in this room know. But, there was a day where there weren't cell phones, right? You have to stop, get a payphone, have the dime, put it in, and if you were in Israel, you have to have an asimon, one of those weird coins.
I waited 5 years to get a phone in the house, in the apartment.
And they were this big and the clunky as anything, or the people who had phones in their cars. Oh my gosh, right? Oh my gosh, right? And now it's like everybody's got this. Unbelievable. It's outrageous. And it's going more and more and more. Now they're getting chips. We're going to put chips in your brain that you can download all of Shas and post game, right? Not that I don't know if you'd want that.
Not chips, it's threads they sew into your circuit.
There you go. Right? It's getting into threads. It's going to be micro, and it's going to be like zip zap, booty bap, and what's going to be of us? Okay. But so let's just go over it again. Who is the Ark of Noah in our day? One is the Word. Make the Word to shine. That is your Ark of Noah. Helps you get your thoughts together. Clear out the negative influences. 2, Shabbat clears out all the negativity. Protection. 3, the Torah. And 4, a gathering of holy people. Okay? Question. You had a question? Comment?
No. Noah is, and the Shabbat, Noah is menucha.
Yes.
Noah.
Yes.
Menucha.
Exactly.
It's rest.
Right.
So that's why I see the nun and the chet. Another thing is, depends who your friends are, even when I raise my kids. And I make sure they are with good people, or they have good, so something good will come out of it. And if he associates, or the kids associate with kids who are not so good, something bad will come out of it. So it's even
Emuna. Okay, I think he says it even in here. Shabbat is emunah. Okay.
Emunah,
In other words, we can't control you talked about your kids, right? Kids with good friends or kids. Number 4 is a chabura of people.
Chabura, yeah.
A chabura of people with good qualities.
Yes, so like when my kids were growing up.
Yes,
I
okay, we're going
tried
to stop
to
here so
direct
nobody has
them
to